everybody, and welcome to Virtual TrekCon. We're joined today by Mr. Garrett Wang and Megan ELISE.
Yay!
Yay!
Those were the best waves we've ever had, probably. Of course,
we should have did that.
That was the best one.
Sirach Lofton, of course.
Hello, hello.
And Melissa Longo. My name is Ryan T. Husk, and we're going to have some fun. Garrett, everybody knows you as that guy that was on Voyager for 7 years, and everybody loves you. Everybody says you should have been promoted. Everybody, that's kind of like the running gag. Is there one thing with regards to Voyager or your Star Trek career that you wished was a running gag, or that you wished did pick up, kind of like everybody was rooting for you to get promoted? Do you wish there was kind of something that everybody was really pushing for?
Well, I mean, I always felt that for Voyager, it would have been a better show if they allowed more people to be funny. That's the main thing that I've always felt. That if they allowed Janeway to be funny. Janeway doesn't come off very funny very often, She's pretty much very down to business and very serious. Janeway, Chakotay, Paris. But they kind of just left all the funny haha to the Doctor and a little bit to Neelix and those two characters alone. So the holographic Doctor and the alien cook and morale officer got the extent of the humor. And I think that was a mistake. I think there's a lot of gold that was left, buried deep down in the recesses of all the minds of all the human characters, basically. Because I think all those actors were really, really funny. Robert Beltran, hilarious in real life. Robbie McNeil, hilarious in real life.
Even you are, by the way, you do stand up.
Yeah, I try to be funny too.
By the way,
they didn't show that though, and I think that if you're a showrunner, I think your main thing that you should try to do is showcase or highlight the strengths of your cast. If your cast is really strong at something, why not utilize that? And that's something that they missed, unfortunately. So, yeah. I'm not sure if I answered your question correctly or not. But
I think you definitely did. A lot of times, especially writers after like the first season, they kind of adjust to the actors. And you're saying basically you wish like they would recognize the fact that you guys had other talents and kind of honed in on the comedy aspect. Because original series, Deep Space Nine, Next Generation, there was a huge comedy element in there. It was part of its charm. They had entire episodes that were basically comedic episodes. And I hadn't thought of that, but Voyager didn't really. Every once in a while you'd have, Neelix do this, make someone smile or, say something silly and bug Tuvok. But for the most part, you guys didn't really get to spread your wings there.
I do feel like a little jealous of Sirach and all his fellow DS9 actors, because I do feel that there was more of a collaborative process between Ira and all the actors, as opposed to our heads of, the main writers and showrunners of Voyager. I felt there wasn't as collaborative feeling. And maybe you can speak to that right now, Sirach. I mean, did you feel like Ira sort of like listened to what you guys had to say? And I mean, was he someone that you could talk to easily about your character and the direction it was going in, and maybe make suggestions? I don't know. I'm curious.
No, he didn't. We didn't feel really. I didn't feel like I had any input on things. No, I didn't feel like I had input. Avery did a lot to fight for me and fight for my character. So he would be the one to say, I think you need to use Sirach more. You need to give him more responsibility, bigger challenges, better, something that's more up his alley. You can't keep him in this kid zone forever. But I wasn't the one fighting for that. That was something he was fighting for.
Wow.
That was something he was my advocate in that department. But Garrett, like, I think that like post Star Trek, your personality and who you are has really shined and really like flourished. And that's one thing that I admire about you and the successes that you've had since the show has ended, because I think that people have gotten to know who you are as a person more so as just who this, this character that you played. And I think who you are is such a big presence in this industry and somebody that, we all have an affection towards.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear that.
I'd like to piggyback off of that and personally say a big thank you to both Megan and Garrett for the amazing support that you've given me, these past 2 years. And it hasn't gone unnoticed, and it's very appreciative. And I love you both. Thank you.
We love you.
That.
We love Ciroc. We love Ryan. We love fest right now. So thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I did have a question. Were some of these thoughts that you had about the writing brought up in the Voyager doc at all? Has it been brought up, or is it going to be touched upon at all in the Voyager doc?
They haven't really told us what our dog is. We have 2 dogs, and when the small dog gets close to the bigger dog starts growling, sort of like, you know what?
Well, he's a husky.
This is my space.
Can't trust those huskies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I weigh 40 pounds, you weigh 7 pounds. Now move. That's what his growl is.
It's huskies.
It's a warning.
Is it territory?
No, they're
dramatic. They're overly dramatic.
They are dramatic. Yeah.
On behalf of huskies, yes, we are.
That's a good one, Ryan.
Sorry, Melissa, you were in the midst of saying you were asking a question, and then the dog started growling. So can you repeat that?
Yeah, I was just asking if what you were mentioning before about the comedy and all of that stuff would be talked about in the Voyager documentary.
It has definitely been mentioned by me in a prior interview for the documentaries. They have so much footage that they have to sift through. Whether or not they use that or not, I don't know what direction they're going to go with, how they're going to edit that. But yes, that's already been made known. Definitely. What I just said just now, I have said as well to the documentary crew that are currently filming for the Voyager documentary. They know that. Hopefully they'll keep it.
Yeah.
So Garrett, if you could go back in time and you were just now beginning Voyager with this mind that you have, knowing everything that you know now, what would you do differently? How would you approach it differently?
Oh my gosh. You know what? This is how I'd approach it differently. And I got this idea from what you told me earlier about how Avery was going to bat for you, kind of fighting for you. I would have gone to Kate Mulgrew and I would have said, listen, this is how I feel. Us human characters, yourself included, need to have some moments or scenes of levity. And it can't all be just the holographic doctor and Neelix that are the funny people on the show. I mean, I love those 2 guys, the actors that play those roles, but you got to spread it out a little bit, especially when everyone, all of us have our unique senses of humor. And Kate, I think you're funnier than hell. You're a funny person, but nobody knows that. So can you go to bat for me? Is what I would say. Right? If I'm going to I would use Kate Mulgrew as my lead blocker, and I'm the running back.
And you're going behind her like this.
I'm gonna go right behind Kate as she knocks everyone out of the way.
Do you think they would have been open to you going to them directly, or do you think you would have had to go through the star of the show?
I think I would have had to go through the star of the show because I was the youngest person, and Ciroc probably can understand this too. When you're the youngest person in the cast, everyone looks at you as the kid, and they're just like, "Oh, that's the kid." That kid doesn't really have a thought about any type of anything that he can contribute that would be of value to us. We know what we're doing. He's just a kid, and that's kind of the mentality that went on. So I do feel that I would have had to have gone to somebody else, or to my agent or to my lawyer or something, and say look, I need this to be said or made known, and I need them to take me seriously. Maybe if I'd gone that route, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I do think utilizing the captain of the show is a good way to go for sure.
Mm-hmm. So and that made me think of another question, which is, do you think beyond the kid stereotypes, do you think there are any other stereotypes that were kind of restricting them from seeing you as somebody that outside of that, and so that maybe they didn't know? Because like as we get to know who you are, Garrett, we're like, oh man, this guy's naturally funny. It's natural for me to see you doing comedy or having that levity and being able to go serious because we know you now. But do you think that because they didn't know you in the beginning, there was this kind of hesitancy, like, okay, based on stereotypes or based on, whatever preconceived notions they had?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think it was, the only person that really took the time to sort of get to know me would be Brandon Braga, of all the writers. Like he would have a regular dinner with me. He'd be like, hey, let's go grab food right now. Like Berman never did that. Berman never called me up and said, hey, let's go grab dinner. That just never happened. So it's kind of sad that one of the writers was interested in figuring out, what makes this guy tick, or let me hang out with him and get to know him better. So yeah, that definitely affected it for sure. But I do think youth was the biggest factor of their preconceived notion of who I was or what I had to contribute. It's sort of like, look, you're lucky that you even got this job. You should be happy. Don't come wasting our time telling us what you think all the characters should be doing, and it's a bummer. And the other thing is I wasn't persistent enough. I feel like if I had kept calling, kind of like the Robert Picardo way, and he's very insistent upon, look, I want the doctor to sing opera. And then no, we're not really into that. Then he just kept going at it and said, look, this is the way that I think that my character would be really, you could really get something out of this if you allowed him to do this. And he kept showing different angles of displaying the same message, really, right? So he tried 5 different ways until they finally kind of said, okay, fine, we'll let you do your idea. We'll go with your idea. So maybe more persistence would have helped, but I do feel like the overall, the wall that was erected, or the wall that was there, the hurdle that was there for me, was my age. That was it. That was truly, truly it. I felt that, because you can feel when someone looks at you, kind of like, yeah, he's a kid. They're not saying it, but you can see how they look at you and how they talk to you. They feel like they're the ones in control, and you are basically like one of their own kids at home. It's like, it's my household. I pay the bills. You do what I say. And that's how I felt around Berman and all the other guys that didn't get to know me. Yeah.
And when you're young, it's difficult to know how to advocate for yourself as well.
And I'm this is my first big role. Should I rock the boat and and be like Picardo? See, that made taking a Picardo stance could have got me fired. They could have said, "Oh man, I'm sick of this. This youngin trying to tell us what to do."
Who does he think he is?
Right. You might be gone after 2 seasons.
I should have taken should have shaved my hair off just like Bob Picardo. Look at this. I'm bald. I have wisdom now. Would you say
I'm a little gray?
I'm thinking of what they would have done to you if you did that.
If I shaved my hair,
they would have put you through another deadlock. They would have put you through
they would have shot me into space again. Yeah, they would. Okay, we're gonna write here.
Get a wig.
His hair grows back. He's floating in space.
Now, Gary, you were talking about Brandon Braga a second ago, and I was wondering, was that just the kind of guy that Brandon Braga was to everybody? Was he interested in meeting everybody and talking with everybody, or was it specifically you, do you think?
Well, my first comedic reaction was Brandon had a crush on me, and that's pretty much it. He saw me and he says, "Oh, that tender young Asian meat. I want no." It was what it was he would take every Voyager actor to dinner at the beginning of the season to talk about their character, and that was for everybody. All 9 of us but when it came to after that first dinner at the beginning of the season, he didn't ask anyone else out. He said he did ask, me to go hang out. So and that was more because I guess he felt that I was one of the few people in the cast that was single, like he was, not married, and he felt, oh, I can kind of hang with him, So he did ask everyone in the beginning of the season, but after that, the only person that really hung out with Braga post that initial dinner would have been me, I would say, of all the actors that were there. So,
was there ever a time that you were on set and you're just like, no, I'm not going to say this. I just wouldn't say this. Did you ever have like one?
You mean from the script? You mean from the?
Yeah. Were there lines or something that you just like? This doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely lines that some technobabble. I'm reading it, and then as I'm trying to memorize it, I realize the writers have written a tongue twister. It's like this thing. This doesn't even flow. I mean, there's no flow at all to this line. This is the most. And then I start thinking, God dang it! These guys didn't even say it out loud when they wrote it. They just thought in their head, "Oh, this sounds perfect," Or they're under the gun because a lot of times we got scripts the day before we started filming. Like, let's say we started a new episode on Monday. I remember getting scripts at midnight. Sunday night is when they finally finished it. Boom. So by the seat of their pants. And so, tons of times I would look at the line and go, oh my God. Every time I say this, my tongue twists in 18 directions and I can't even speak this. And then I would then call up to the front office. I was like, look, I need to talk to someone right now. This is crazy. Can you please, just modify this? I'm not saying change it, just like change the entire monologue or change the entire line, but just modify it so that it flows with the natural rhythm. Because some of it, and you felt that too. I mean, I think every actor gets a script or a line where they're like, they didn't even think about this line at all. They didn't think at all about how to read. This does not make sense.
Self-sealing stem bolts, anyone?
Self-sealing stem bolts, You're like, seriously, guys, this is the difficult thing to say. Yeah, it seems like they're trying to get you to like slip up and do like verbal karate to get it out. So
especially when you have to be DLP,
DLP,
Dead Letter Perfect.
Dead Letter
Perfect.
Which then brings up, you guys made a reference about the Aaron story about the bolts, right? That he just talks about. And I think about how difficult some of those lines were, how tongue twister they were. And then now I think about Aaron with his damn teeth in too. It's like he had it even harder than all of us combined. It's like, wait a minute. He had to talk around unnatural, prosthetics sticking in all directions. And they weren't like cleanly uniform teeth. Frankie's teeth are like this. It's like, hello. It's like, I'll talk to you now. Like, how do you talk to somebody when your teeth are facing in 5 directions like that? It's like, it's not easy. So I really, I am impressed by anyone who can tackle Ferengi, a Ferengi character, or even Klingon, right? The Klingons got to wear the crazy teeth too. So it's not easy.
That reminds me real quickly about my favorite thing that Mr. Beltran once said, and that was on a set of an independent thing I was producing, and I was just standing in, reading some lines for Korn Nemec, actually, and Beltran was next to me, and I was trying to say these things real quick just to feed the lines to Walter, and the line just wasn't really working. Like I was like, how do you say this thing? And it just wasn't. Like, did they say this out loud again, right? So I look over to Beltran. I'm like, you ever just had a line that just doesn't work with your mouth? And he goes, for 7 years. Like total deadpan.
That's all he said? For 7 years.
He just looked at me and he goes, for 7 years.
Yeah. There you go.
I have a question for you, Garrett, about hosting stuff, because you've really transitioned to become like a master of ceremony. You've hosted different things, and I just want to just a little bit for for the audience to just understand where that comes from. I know we know about your ability to be on screen and your theatrical background, but that's not necessarily always transferable to the skill set that you have as far as hosting events and being this master of ceremony.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, I think that the misconception is that every actor can easily transition to the world of hosting or being a master of ceremonies or being part of a live show, and that's just not the case. I think it's a God-given gift if you're able to be a really good host or someone who can someone who can deal with different types of people. A really good host can bring together someone who is an introvert with somebody who is very outspoken, and they can sort of balance and the energy flow amongst everybody. And that's what I try. That's what I try to do. That's what I always try to do. Keep things moving, keep things funny, and keep things focused on the guests. So if I'm the host or the MC, I wear the host MC hat. I do not talk about like, well, guys, did you see the last project I just did? Like, I don't talk about anything. Yeah, I'm not bringing my crap into it. It's all about what am I doing for the people that I'm hosting, the people that I'm interviewing for a panel or whatever it may be. And it's funny because I remember watching. You remember that the morning show with Regis and Kathy Lee, and then Kathy Lee retired, and then Regis ended up getting Kelly
Ripa, yeah.
And Regis retired, and Kelly Ripa got Michael Strahan, and then Michael Strahan left, and then she had another search before she found Ryan Seacrest. But it was funny because of the 50 or 60 people they brought in as guest hosts, a lot of them were from A-list shows like Modern Family and all these A Big Bang Theory. But when they were there hosting, they were like fish out of water, and you could see it. And then Kelly would always say, so doing it live is not the easiest thing in the world. It would be Jim Parsons from Big Bang Theory going, yep, this is not the easy, because it's live, and you got to be able to manage the crowd, the guests, everything. I mean, you're there, and you got to be on, and you got to be listening to what everyone's saying around you and hearing what's going on. And that's just something that I guess I fell into it. I didn't know that I was really good at it, but I fell into it when I first. I think it was I hosted a panel on stage for Tulsa. You guys remember that Trek Expo in Tulsa? That was a long time ago. Yeah. And I had to host something there on stage, and I was like, wow, I really enjoy this. And then they asked me to host the what was it, the talent show that they had for Trek Expo. And that's when the Power of Delancey story was born because of that. John Delancey, like all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah. And then I got in Germany. I got into doing FedCon. I was master of ceremonies for FedCon. And it was so hilarious because there was the stage manager. There's a stage manager backstage that sort of runs the operations. And she told me that the FedCon website had a poll going, that they threw this poll out there on the internet. They said, okay, everyone, what do you think of Garrett Wang as your new master of ceremonies for FedCon? Yes or no? And you would vote on that, right? And then so day one, she looks at me. Her name was Sandra, and Sandra goes, Garrett, I must tell you that so far, in day one, you have 35 yeses and 0 no's. And I said, every day I came in there, the number it changed, and it was for the best. She did too. She's like, I'm very happy to report we have 132 yeses and 0 no's. And I go, and then at the end, this is the last day of the con. This is Sunday, right? And I get there in the morning. She goes, Garrett, It's unbelievable. It is truly unbelievable. We have 2,735 yeses and 0 no's. And she was like, and I gotta say, that's when I knew, when I got that MC job for FedCon, that first year that I did it, that whole crazy thing with Sandra, like telling me my stats, every day. And then Dirk, the guy that started the whole thing, he comes on stage at the closing ceremonies and he gets up there, he goes, "So, FedCon, what do you think of our new host, Garrett?" And then he points.
Exactly. These accents are dead on, guys.
I love it.
That's exactly
right?
Yeah. That's exactly Dirk.
Hey, so you want to go to the bar? Let's go to the bar right now. And so anyway, so he's like, "What do you think of your new host, Garrett?" And right when he said that, the entire FedCon audience got up and standing ovation. And I felt this wave of energy hit me from the audience. And I stepped back. Dirk took half a step back. And we were both looking at each other like, whoa. And that's sort of cemented my panel, being the moderator for panels, hosting different events. And that's when I knew this is something that I do as if other people, when they breathe, they don't think about the fact that they're breathing. When I host, I don't think about the fact that I'm hosting. It just comes out naturally, and it's crazy. And I got lucky in that I'm able to do that. And it's not easy for anyone really to get up in front of thousands of people and talk and keep it going and keep it lively and people engaged and not bored where they're falling asleep. So it's good.
No, you have a natural gift, Garrett, when it comes to talking to people, when it comes to entertaining the crowd, when it comes to interviewing. I've watched you do the master of ceremony thing. I've watched you host. You are immensely gifted and talented. I want to make sure that people out there know that it's not something that everybody can do, even if you're able to speak in public, even if you are able to act on camera. It doesn't necessarily translate to that skill set. And, I also want to say that I wanted to make sure to give Megan her credit, because I do think that ever since the two of you have been in each other's lives, that I have seen so much good things and positive things about your two of you together. And I know she's a positive influence on you because I've seen those positive changes. And I just wanted to make sure I highlight that coming off of Valentine's Day, that, that she gets the credit that she deserves for really just bringing out the best in you, Garrett, too.
Did Megan just text you to say that?
Yeah.
I saw her holding her phone real quick.
She PayPal'd Sirach's account.
Yeah.
No, I have the script right here. I was reading it.
No, the best thing about Megan is like she's helped me in so many ways over the years, and we've been together now for
7. I don't even
is that
know.
right? Yeah, 7. Yeah, going on 7
years.
years now. So, but yeah, like in the beginning, before I met her, I was in a internet battle with Shatner. I mean, we had, oh my God, there was stories that they were saying Garrett Wang hates William Shatner. People were printing this stuff, and there was all these headlines, and we had a feud on Twitter twice, like a double feud, and she was the one that quelled the whole thing. She how did we do this? I
pretty much just told you to stop.
Well, basically what I did was I followed him. I finally followed him. And so then he responded, "Oh, so now you follow me?" Like this very sarcastic, thing he responded about that. And I was about to engage him like, "Yeah, motherfucker." Yeah, no, I was going to get a little angry, and I didn't, because she said, no, just say on your tweet, "I decided to turn over a new leaf," like that. So I'm trying to turn a new chapter. We're all in the same Star Trek family. I've decided to turn over the page and move on and make, let's think about things positively, really. And then immediately after he saw that, boom, he followed me back. Bing! quickly.
Oh, see,
like, oh my God. So then now, I'd probably say once every 3 months, I'll message him, DM on Twitter about like when he went into space. I said, hey man, watch out for the Romulans when you get up there. I was like, watch your back. And then he texts back. Nice. He was like, well, what about the Klingons? So he would actually engage with that.
Engage.
Engage. Yes. So it's been fun. It's been fun. So Megan's helped with that,
yeah,
and also
personal PR.
Yeah, and also she was kind of integral with Delta Flyers, at least the way it is now, because I wasn't going to go to Robbie. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll just do this on my own.
Well, you were also not going to do it at that time.
Yeah, I wasn't going to. And then
thinking about it.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it. And then she finally said, look, it's the pandemic. No one's doing anything. You should probably do it. And you should probably ask Robbie if he wants to do it with you. And I said, he's so busy. He's directing. She goes, it's the pandemic. Nobody is doing anything.
Totally. This is the time. If not now, when?
You guys have known Robbie McNeil in the last 20 years. He's just been directing. He hasn't acted it, right? Like there's certain conventions he hasn't even gone to in many years because he's so busy directing. Mm-hmm. So really, Megan was like, look, just call him up. Just see what he's doing right now. Just talk to him and see. And that conversation was hilarious because his comments were, you think anyone would even have any interest in listening to what we would have to say?
Oh, Star Trek fans?
Yeah. And I was,
oh, no way.
I was like, Robbie, have you been to a convention? I mean, do you understand? And he's like, well, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like, eh. And then now it's really, he has seen how many people.
It's a community.
It's a community.
Well, you guys know.
And you guys know too. I mean, the people that the diehards that follow Seventh Rule, they're there for your. They're waiting on bated breath for everything that you say, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, the new episode just uploaded!" I mean, they're so happy. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna do a dance with them." They have alarms set up. Beep, 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 beep. Seventh Rule, let's go watch. I mean, this is how it works, right? And this is something that he had no concept of. McNeil, he was like, I don't know, man, and now he really gets it. And if anything, it's helped him in his own. I guess. He now sees things that he never saw when he was filming because he was so busy working and being a dad to 3 young kids and being a husband. So being family man, he never even watched when Voyager aired. He didn't even watch, when it was on UPN. I watched every time on, what was it, Monday nights at 8, and then it moved to Wednesday, whatever.
Wednesday,
McNeil didn't. So it's been eye-opening for him. And just the number of fans who have told us, and I'm sure you guys have had these emails where people write in and say, if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know what I would have done during this pandemic. I mean, this is the one thing that I get to look forward to. Right. This has made my year.
Which makes our year, right?
Of course, right. Yeah. When you know someone
to hear that.
Man, you guys, we had a story of a dude that was living in South America. Yeah, I can't remember which country he was in. And he said that he got COVID and he had to go to the hospital, like hardcore COVID. But he snuck his phone in and he downloaded several episodes of Delta Flyers.
Nice.
And he snuck the phone in and he snuck a charger in because they usually confiscate all that stuff. So in the COVID ward, he had this with him. And he was able to, and I guess an earbud or something like that, he could listen to it secretly. But he said that he viewed many patients that came into the COVID ward that when they were putting tubes into them to help them breathe, they were freaking out and they were fighting against the doctors and nurses and ripping stuff out of their, all the tubes out. And he goes, I saw one person after another die from fighting the doctors and nurses because they couldn't remain calm. And he said, the only thing that kept me calm was the Delta Flyers. He goes, because of that, I didn't rip my stuff out. Because of that, I feel that I'm alive today because I had something to take my mind off of it. And so he wrote us, and I read that letter and I just started bawling. I was just like, oh my God, like this dude has, and you guys know how I am. I joke, like if you listen to the Delta Flyers, I joke around with Robbie a lot. I'm a goofball.
You just joke around
I'm joking around in general, yeah. And to know that this type of banter is what kept it light in his head and kept him calm, so that he didn't rip out that stuff out of his mouth and fight the doctors and die as well. And he, someone to. It's rare when you have someone come and tell you, "Hey, thanks for my life," and when they say that to you,
right,
boy, that hits you like a Mack truck. You're like, "Thanks for your life." Oh my goodness, this is incredible. So really, that's the most rewarding thing, really. And then you guys, you and Rebecca, you're reading these emails all the time from people, comments, emails. So, and it's definitely gratifying for not only for us, but for Megan and Rebecca, because they know they're such a huge part of the team as well. So yeah, we're all feeling it. And
I've been waiting 2 years to find out these kinds of answers. This is exactly what I've been wanting to ask you about with the Delta Flyers, because we were pretty new to the podcasting world, and there are bumps and bruises that come along the way. There completely unlooked for rewards that you're just like blown away by.
Yeah.
But what was something, for each of you that you just some kind of aspect of the podcasting world that you didn't expect? Like you didn't expect it would be this much work, or you didn't expect it would be, so fun, or.
That's a good question. What's something that you didn't expect from this podcast journey?
I mean, like I expected there to be a lot of work. Definitely that whole thing though. Sometimes I've been up till like 3 a.m. working, as well as Rebecca. Like there have been times where like we'll work nonstop and not really get a break. But I think what I didn't expect, like what Garrett was just talking about, was the outreach, like how far it would actually go, the things we would get back, the friendships that I've made within the community. I knew the Star Trek community alone, like you make these friendships, you go to conventions and you become friends with people that'll come up to the table. You see them every year, like STLV, you meet these people and you're like, oh, I can't wait to go back because I'll see you again next year. And it becomes a thing where you are excited to see these people year after year. It's not that you're excited to be sitting at a table and interacting with people. You're just excited to see them again. So I like have daily conversations with some of these people, and I didn't expect to have that at all.
Yeah. I think I've become more, what's the term? I mean, you learn real quick when you do a podcast that it's really easy to offend somebody.
Oh, yeah,
learned that a long time ago too.
Comments. And I'm sitting here going, I'm not going to go into specifics, but never in a million years would I think that what I said would have offended anybody. But there's always somebody who will write in saying like, really? You said that? And I'm like, and they always preface it by going, Garrett, we love you, but. Bang, let me just sucker punch you a couple times for saying that, and it's like, wow, I didn't know that I offended, a Liberian tap dancer from, it's just some very obscure group, right? Yeah. Who's into salmon fishing. That's who I offended,
But we take it seriously.
We do take it seriously, but
we learn. It's a constant learning, like you were saying earlier. We're constantly learning. We're going into the 5th season, and sometimes we'll get a message and be like, oh, we didn't even think of that. So then as we go on, we're like, we won't mention this, we won't talk about that, or we won't do it this way, but maybe we'll do it this way. We just want to be cautious of aware of everyone's feelings and respect everybody's feelings.
Yeah. And so that's the one thing that I guess I didn't expect. Because I've always felt that I've been pretty PC, pretty politically correct. When being Asian American, I've been subjected to a lot of racism, similar to what Avery Brooks had to deal with. Avery Brooks has seen a lot of racism in his youth, and I saw it too growing up in Memphis, Tennessee. So I've always felt that I've been very accommodating and overall just understanding and inclusive of everyone. But man, that you learn real quick. You could say one thing that you think is funny, quick, a lighthearted joke, but it ends up somebody, will end up writing in saying, "Why did you say that? That is the worst thing that you could have ever said." And like, oh my gosh. So,
well, the big thing is you care that you offend people. Like now you're breaking it up. It bothers that you did offend somebody, and so.
Yeah, Sirach and I don't give a shit. We don't watch.
That's right. But Garrett, I have to say though, I have to commend you too, because I mean, for me, one of the biggest things is just the connection with the fans, with the people that support us on our podcast. That's priceless for me. It's just like those relationships are like priceless for me. And they mean so much, because we are there for each other in good and bad times, and that's what you realize. You build like a family, a community of people. But one thing I really notice about you, Garrett, is every time I see you, regardless of what convention we're at, you are always engaged and interacting. You're very rarely just sitting off by yourself and doing something and leave me alone. You're really engaged. You're like, come over here. You're like, you're in the mix. And so every time I pass by, I'm like, okay, there's Garrett. He's busy. He's talking to like 8 people at once, but I'll just wave when I pass by. But I love that about your personality, is that you're like, hey, over here. And it's another quality that I believe that Aaron Eisenberg had, that I admired as well. And those are the kinds of things that I would watch about you guys. I need to be more like, because I like that spirit. I want bring people in, talk, engage, have the conversations, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take that next step and break the ice.
Yeah, well, with Aaron and I, we both are under the same Chinese astrological sign. See, his birthday is January of '69. Which means it throws him still in the year of the monkey. So the year of the monkey starts February of '68, goes to February '69. So we're both monkey, and the monkey in the Chinese zodiac is the entertainer of the zodiac. So don't feel too bad, Sirach, if you don't feel like
I don't have it naturally.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
I think you could get like you could throw on a little bit of Eisenberg Wang kind of energy to like one fan in front of you, but Eisenberg and I were masters at having 4 conversations of animated conversation at a time. But I will say this, Sirach, what I loved about you is that you knew what I was doing, you knew what Aaron was doing, and so when you did walk past, you were not offended that I didn't stop and go like, okay, let's have a big conversation and catch up. You'd walk over, we'd fist bump, and you'd nod at me, I'd nod at you, and you'd walk on because you're like, he's doing his thing.
He's doing his thing.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to watch. You just want to, just let me get out of the way. I'm not trying to stop the show. I just want it to keep going. So I admire that about you. That energy is just infectious. And Megan said it, every year we look forward to seeing our friends, our family. These people are like close to us. It's like, this is what I'm here for.
That's great.
And you're just as much a part of that as anybody else. And I just think that, as far as after Star Trek, life after Star Trek, getting to know you as a person and people getting to know you, who Garrett is, I think is even bigger than the role that you played. I think who Garrett is more important in the world. And important for the world to get to know and discover.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Wow, that's really awesome.
And Megan too.
Yeah.
She's special.
If you don't know Megan, she's an amazing human being, and she definitely deserves accolades as well.
Yeah, Garrett, hasn't that been like a really good added bonus that you're like, you almost get to like introduce the world to Megan. You almost get to say like, hey, by the way, check out this awesome, amazing human being that is helping with this production and that's interacting with the fans. That's got to be a really rewarding part of this.
It is. The things that kind of bother Megan, I'm going to say right off, are we're at a convention and she's sitting next to me. There's a lot of people who think that she might be my manager or assistant and not my significant other, right? So or handler. And so she's had this before at the Vegas convention.
Like, I am those things.
Yes,
like,
you are those things, but it's annoying. It's difficult for her to deal with. Let's say I go off to the bathroom, and this has happened before. Two girls come up to the table.
No,
and go,
you were at the table.
Oh, I was at the table. I was in one of my animated conversations. I was in one of my animated conversations with one group, and Megan's talking to another group that walks up, and they're like, here's our number. Can you give this? How did it go? What happened?
She doesn't want to tell it, Garrett. She just wants to tell you that you're telling it wrong.
It's a funny story.
It's just how you tell it.
You tell
it's like they weren't so direct.
You tell it. Yeah.
They're like, I can see he's busy right now. Can you give this to him? And I'm like, okay. And then they just walked off, and I looked at it, and it was one of the girls' phone numbers. So I was like, okay, garbage.
or what about?
Okay. We get it. Yeah. So that's on
the last cruise when
Oh, that means don't tell the story.
Yeah, that's the alarm right there.
Sorry, that was
red alert.
Drama. Leave your brother.
Okay.
Yeah, on the cruise, while Garrett was filming the documentary, I was kind of following behind the trail of the camera, and
she overheard.
No, I was like right in the last, because I didn't want to get into the picture. He was in his zone, he was doing his thing. I didn't want to interrupt, but I was watching because I enjoy watching that kind of stuff. And there's these girls laying around at the pool, lounging by the pool, and they were like, as I'm turning away and leaving, because I was going to go meet with Professor Noor, Dr. Mohammed Noor.
Yeah.
He was doing a biology thing where you like put your DNA in a necklace.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I don't want to miss that, so I'll go to that.
I'm not touching that
one. As I'm
one.
walking away, these two girls were like, oh, well, there goes his stalker.
There goes Garrett's stalker. That's what they said. So
what?
Yeah. So I was like, because all that time if he's interacting with people, I'll take a step back.
Yeah,
because I enjoy seeing you interact with people as well. So I won't interrupt. I won't stand right there. Sometimes I will if I'm mingling as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I'll kind of stand back a little bit. So throughout the cruise, I guess it was me constantly walking behind him.
Right.
And like,
so it
I
looked
was with
like
my friend. It looked like
been
I
a
was
stalker.
following him. We were joking. We were going to get t-shirts because a friend of mine, she was on the cruise as well. And people constantly thought that she was Garrett's sister. So we were going to get shirts where her shirt said not Garrett's sister, and mine would say not Garrett's stalker.
Is what the t-shirt.
Wow.
So I've had
That's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
So when's the last time that Sirach, when's the last time that you've gone back to your home country, like where your parents were born? When's the last time you were able to visit? How long ago was that?
This one.
yeah.
This wasn't too long ago. Yeah.
Recently.
Okay. Just recently. Yeah. This last July, August. July, August. I was in Ethiopia for the first time in like 20 years. And I got to see the whole countryside in East Africa there and visit family and get centered and kind of experience something different than we kind of get used to out here. Yeah. And find appreciation for things like, running water and electricity and, back to the basic stuff where, we get so spoiled and we're like, how come there's no mint on my pillow? We get really spoiled, after we start to get used to luxury. But when you get back to a place where the basics are important and, just living life, friends, family means so much. Yeah. And just having meals together, sharing coffee together. That was the really enriching thing for me. And I can't wait to go back again. So I'm not going to wait another 20 years before I go back.
Okay. I ask you that because this is my new idea that I want to pitch. Okay.
All right.
Here's the new show. And you are one episode of the show. The show is basically, it's kind of my tribute to Anthony Bourdain in a way. So I'm going to take on his role, but what I'm doing is I'm taking my fellow Trek actors back to their home countries and then checking out what's going on in their home countries.
Very nice.
Their roots. You see what I'm saying? So this episode,
I love it.
Yeah, this episode joins Rock Lofton and I as we travel back to Ethiopia like that. So we go back there, and it's just following us around, and we're just talking about culture and traditions of Ethiopia. You know what I'm saying? Like what things that a lot of Americans don't know jack about. They just don't. So Americans are probably the worst when it comes to geography and knowing what's going on in the world outside of America. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So I think something like that would be pretty dope. And if I center it on different Star Trek actors. So next episode, I take Colm Meaney we go back to, his home country. We go back to Ireland.
Take Shatner to Canada.
Take Shatner. The camera crew's following us in. We're at customs. They're like, we're not letting you in, Mr. Shatner. And we're like, what? You're no longer an honorary Canadian. You've been gone way too long. I'm sorry. But yeah, take him back to Canada.
No, I think that's a great show. And I've actually been saying this for a while, that there needs to be some reality-based type of show with the Star Trek actors involved. So I think it would be great. I definitely participate, and I have a lot of history and stories to take you to, and take you through the back streets, and we'll see the cuts in Ethiopia, which has grown in bounds since the last time I was there. But great idea, and then follow up on that. Hey, weren't you supposed to go to space sometime soon? I don't know. Was that just me?
That's in March, end of March. I'm supposed to go to Bordeaux, France, and hop on a plane that's going to do 0G with the European Space Agency. So that's March.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. You're not going like as high as Shatner went. You're just gonna
I'm not going as high as Shatner, but I will experience more 0G than he did, because this flight makes 24 0G moves. So you're experiencing all these little quick segments of complete weightlessness, which is going to be amazing. Yeah, and I'm going to get a sort of a motion sickness injection, anti-nausea, to make sure I don't barf.
Which is going to be
hilarious.
I was going to say 24 up and down. Like, you might need a break in between.
They say we can give you the pill, but the shot is more effective. And I said, give me the shot, even though I hate needles. I do not want to be the one person who barfs on that plane. I was like, no, I'm not going to go to that.
Because you keep hitting it every time. It's just floating.
You do it on number 2. You got 22 more to go.
22 more times.
Ew.
No, that's great. That's great. I'm excited
to
follow up on that and see the press reporting on that. That's going to be exciting.
Well, that's this is being done because it's part of the Voyager documentary. So they're kind of focusing on me, and so they're doing different things with me. I guess they've made me like a through line.
This makes up for you not getting a promotion.
This makes up for me not getting a promotion.
Well, Garrett has been really, really good about the Voyager documentary and helping to promote it, and anything that we or they needed, he was always saying yes. He was always down for everything. And, as part of the Voyager documentary crew, and we're going to say this 1,000 times, but thank you, Garrett, for how many times you have said yes and really championed the success of this documentary that's coming out soon. And I hope people realize how much you, have taken that lead and been willing to, take your best step forward for us.
Yeah, we have a lot of those perks, the top tier perks. Those VIP tours, they're coming up this May, I guess.
They're going to be so awesome. We've been working on that, planning that out. It's going to be really great in May,
And silly me, I volunteered for, I don't know why I said this, but I was like, yeah, Lolita, I'll go to all of them. She goes, are you sure? And I knew when she said, are you sure? But I made the wrong choice. Immediately, I knew how he responded to my response. I went, oh, what did I commit myself to? I'm going to be totally wiped out. I'm going on every single VIP tour.
But
we do have your name on all of them, but we do understand if...
The Rock, are you going on any of that? Did she ask you to do it? Oh, yeah?
He's doing a couple.
I think so. Yeah. I'm chipping in too.
I'll see you on the one you said yes to.
Sirach will be on for the Bronson Caves because he shot some episodes there, and for Starfleet Academy when we honor everybody's favorite cadet, Mr. Aaron Eisenberg Nog, but also Nicholas Locarno, aka Tom Paris, was a cadet in Starfleet Academy. So that'll be a fun day.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do have to run, but Megan, Garrett, this has been so cool and so much fun. We really hope to see you again sometime soon because we got more questions about the podcast that we'll have to get to another time as well.
We'll do it for sure. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you, Melissa.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, always great seeing you. I just have one question for you, Ryan. Why the number 33? What's going on there?
Sirach actually guessed that right before
we went on. Out.
It's
it's a club at Disneyland. It's a special club in Disneyland that
Club 33,
Club 33, the secret club.
Yeah, I frequent the place and it's fun. And you can't help every once in a while but like leave with some paraphernalia, some merch. You're like, okay, I'll get it. I know it's overpriced. But it's fun, you know.
Well, see, it's interesting because that number is Megan's numerology number. It's 33.
Really?
And mine is 33. And how you figure that out is you guys add your month, your day, and your year. All right. So if you're born in November 15th, 1970, separate the November 1 + 1, right? And then the 15th, another 1 and another 5. So separate all the numbers, add them together. Whatever 2-digit number you come up with, add those two together, and that single digit is your numerology number. Yeah. So 6 is mine, 6 is hers.
I think I'm a 6 too. Yeah, I remember being a 6.
If you add it all together?
So I remember being a 6 back in the day when I did it, I believe, yeah.
Okay. So Melissa and Sirach, if you can add those up for your own birthday, day, month, year, that single digit number, that's your power hour as well. So from 6 to 7 p.m. and 6 to 7 a.m. are Megan and I's power hour. This is the time where you should do any important work, any important decisions should be made during this hour because your brain is the most clear, lucid, and ready to do business.
I'm making those decisions in my power sleep. 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Hour nap. Yeah, actually, I'm a 30. Actually, now I just did the math. I'm a 33, which is a 6, right?
Yeah. You're 33, and you're wearing a 33. Do you know your number, Melissa? Did you figure it out?
No.
All right, we're going to edit this part out. This is going to creep people out. This is too crazy.
I'm just curious. I want to know what your power hour is. Add it. What month are you born?
January 3rd.
January what? 3rd. Okay, so 1 + 3 is 4. And then what year were you born?
1978.
78, right? Okay.
78, yeah.
Okay, so 3 plus the 1 in 1978 is 4, plus the 9 in 1978 is 13, plus the 7 is 20, plus the 8 is 28, right? 2 and 8 together is 10.
That's a 10, and then a 1, right?
I'm a 1.
Yeah. So you're a 1. You're a 1er. So
I'm a 4.
Are you 4?
All right.
Okay. 4 or 5 p.m. and 4 and 5 a.m. That's your time.
Right. Very nice. Yeah, my number is 40 when I add them all together, and then it would just be 4 + 0, right?
So if you're 40, then 4 + 0 is 4. Yeah, that's how it works.
Which so yours is 6, and then the 33 is it 3 + 3? Is that why you said 33?
Yeah, 3 + 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So yours is 40 total. Everything is together is 40, right? Yeah. Separate the 4 and 0 is still 4, so it's 4 a.m. and 4 p.m. That 1 hour right there.
Those are my power hours.
Power hour, man. Power hour. It is.
See, and now everybody learned something today. Yeah. Finally, it took us an hour. But we talked
I learned about the monkey sign too. I learned about the year of the monkey.
You did.
Nice.
Nice.
What is your Chinese sign, Sirach?
I'm August 78, so I think I'm like
you're the horse.
Horse.
No, horse. Yeah.
Horse.
So you were the most. You have the strongest constitution of all the zodiac animals, meaning you're the healthiest. So what'll happen is let's say when you were younger, when you were in 5th grade, everybody in 5th grade caught the flu. You would be the one that didn't catch the flu because you have a stronger constitution.
Ciroc, is there anything going around right now that everybody's getting that you haven't gotten?
Yeah.
I wonder what that is.
Yeah, but Ciroc, you could go for 5, 6, 7 years without even catching a cold. But the one time you do catch the cold, it's like you're on your deathbed. I mean, you're just like, it's just like, that's how you're the horse are. Like you can go many years without catching any type of sickness. And then the one time you do get thrown up, you have to stay in bed and stay at home. You feel like you're not going to make it to tomorrow. That's usually what a horse is. Yeah.
Knock on wood. But my horse durability has been there. I haven't broken any bones or any ligaments since, with all the sports I play.
Wow.
That is amazing.
Yeah. That's
I am the horse.
All those pickup games of any sport you've played, you haven't broken a single bone or anything?
The only thing he broke was a sweat, and that was barely. Anyway, we do have to run. There are other jokes in there, and they were all worse than that, so I'm glad I went with that one.
Oh, that was the one.
Other things to break. All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining us.
Thank you,
Garrett and Megan. That was really cool, and we can't wait to see you again sometime soon. And everybody at home, hey, tell us what your zodiac sign is. Tell us what your astrological sign is. Are you a horse or a monkey or a serpent or any of those things? Let us know. That's good stuff. That's fun. And tell us your numerology number too. You don't have to tell us the year. Just give us the final answer.
Power hour. We want to know your power hour.
Yeah.
What's your social security number? Whatever. Just put it, whatever you want in your mother's maiden name. No big deal. Just put it there for us, and we'll see you then.
Just give us all your addresses for all of your Bitcoin. That's all we need to know.
Whatever. And we will predict your future loss of money. All right.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Good
Thanks very much. We'll see y'all again real soon. And bye.
Bye.